Recording from Chester County, Pennsylvania, this is Coast to Coast Sports, your weekly breakdown of the Philadelphia Eagles, Los Angeles Rams, and NFL teams from around the league. We're recapping last week, previewing what's ahead, and bringing you all the takes in between.
Welcome, everybody, to our Week 4, our fourth edition. It's actually going into Week 5, but our Week 4, our fourth podcast of Coast to Coast Sports. I'm joined by the one and only Mike Carnuccio and, unfortunately, Rams fan Corey Pritchard. But all good week on for both sides of us.
Fins up.
Fins up, yeah.
Okay.
They're actually playing right now. What a horrible team.
Jets are about to score second and goal to 6.
So our sponsor today is Corey's own design. That it is called Birdie Board. This podcast is sponsored by Birdie Board, your all-in golf scoring app for matches, teams, and friendly competitions. Get it now on the Apple App Store and Google Play. And we're actually testing this out for the first time officially. It's on the App Store this weekend, so we'll report back next week on kind of how it went. So hopefully good, Core.
Yeah, hopefully we report back well.
Yeah. Perfect. All right, so two wins for our teams. Eagles and Rams got the dub. We're going to start with the Eagles Buccaneers game. So kind of a quick game recap. So almost the exact opposite of what happened for Eagles Rams last week. Eagles actually jumped out to a 24-6 halftime lead, kind of building on that second half. Jalen Hurts had a couple touchdown passes. They were more like pitches, but they count as touchdown passes. A blocked punt. They looked honestly like the best team in the league in the first half. Hurts completed 15 of 16 passes. In the second half, Hurts had 0 passing yards. Tampa Bay kind of clawed back. They had a big second half from Baker. They had 2, I think, 70-yard plus plays to Bucky Irving and Abuka, if I'm saying that right. Honestly, it like all Eagles games do, it kind of came down to the end. It's always stressful as a fan. Mike and I were texting that we thought they would lose, but maybe that's just how I always feel. But despite the scare,
feel that way.
Yeah, despite the scare, Eagles are 4-0. They're the only unbeaten team in the NFC. The Bills are the only unbeaten team in the AFC, and the Bucs go to 3-1. So, kind of key takeaways, Core. I'm going to start with you. This was a 1 o'clock game, and then the Rams were at 4. So, one, did you get to watch it? I know you had a busy day, but and then any kind of key takeaways or kind of highlights for you from the game?
I think the Eagles are on edge of a collapse or figuring out their season.
Oh, I like it.
The last 2 games, I mean, it's just half of the game they play and half the game they don't play. And eventually, you're either going to start losing all your games or you have to figure out how to play the second half, whether that's the first or the second. The Eagles got lucky versus the Rams. That didn't end up being a loss because based off of how the first half went, it should have been a loss. And I don't think it was as close, but I think the Eagles also lucked out a bit again with the Bucs because, man, they were in control in that first half. And they just let the Bucs get back into it in that second half with the 2 long touchdowns. So at some point, I think something has to give with the Eagles.
Yep.
And it could be a wake-up moment. I could see them losing a game that maybe they shouldn't have lost on paper. Maybe Ajayi Brown finally requests a trade. Who knows what's going to be that breaking point.
My gosh.
But I think they're just on edge. And I think you've seen that the last 2 weeks. And then in a different way, the first 2 weeks, I think you could kind of see it just because they didn't look like themselves last year.
Yep.
I think they're maybe still trying to find themselves a little bit, but that was my main takeaway. Is I'm just starting to see this trend with the Eagles, like something, like they got to do something to get. It's hard to say they're off track because they're 4-0, but like they're not looking like themselves, and they look like they're going to lose every game and then somehow win it in the end. So that was my main takeaway. it was again a tale of two halves for them. Almost blew it, but I do think that's a sign of a great team that they still figure out how to win by the end. But you just can't keep doing that. It's going to catch up to them eventually.
Good points. Well said. I agree with most of what you said, but I want to hear Mike's point of view.
So yeah, I mean Corey's not wrong in the sense that anyone could argue the Eagles got outplayed by the Rams, and a lot of people could argue they got outplayed by the Bucs overall within the game. Considering the Eagles created 2 turnovers and blocked a punt for a touchdown. I mean, and the Eagles didn't turn the ball over one time, right? So those are 3 huge plays, and yet it comes down to a 1-score game. I think there's a few interesting points to make. One is there's a couple angles you could look at this Eagles team from. You could look at them from the angle of, does it really matter how you look in September? Does any team ever in the playoffs, like when the Rams lost to the Eagles in the Super Bowl or in the divisional round last year, do they look back in September and be like, oh, that one game we lost in September, that's why we just lost right now in January?
I mean, I'm pretty sure we started off like 2-3 or 1-4 or something. Like we very bad.
Yeah, you guys started slow.
Yeah.
I don't think September. Well, the argument is this: winning is what matters in September, not how you look. How you look literally doesn't really make a difference. Right. So I would argue that. I would say that how they look doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. Get the win, move on to the next week. How you look really starts mattering in November. I know that's an extreme take, but it's like I don't think how a team ever looked in September, October dictated how they did in January. So that would be one take. Two would be, you could look right now, you can make a comparison for this Eagles team, and the comparison you make would dictate the way you think this is going to go moving forward. Either they are the Chiefs of last year, which if you think that, and I was just looking it up, so the Chiefs last year they beat the Ravens week 1 because of Likely's heel being out by this much out of bounds. Then they beat the Bengals because the refs were literally, it was bones. The refs basically won the game for them week 2 at home. Then the refs won the game for them again in Atlanta the week after that. And then they got lucky against the Chargers week 4. They were 4-0 to start the season. And many people would argue that it was basically, it was somewhat identical to the way the Eagles had been, in that it was like, wow, like they just find a way to win even though they don't look that good. The offense will be dysfunctional one game. The defense will be dysfunctional the next. They'll play really well one week. They'll play really well the second half. So the question is this: do you see this Eagles team right now as the Chiefs of last year, or the Eagles team of 2 years ago? Because there's a huge difference. There's a huge difference, and I actually think they look identical to both. So I don't think you can tell necessarily which one it's going to be yet, and it could turn out either way. The point is, at this point, they're 4-0. And all that really matters in the NFL is winning, especially in September. It doesn't matter how you look. That's my argument.
Yeah, honestly, great points. I think I agree with a combination of both of you. I would say what gives me hope is last year we were 2-2, and our offense has looked way better than it did in those 4 games. Like we had 6 points against the Saints with like 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We were like 1-2 or 2-1. I can't remember what it was. And to Mike's point, I listen to a lot of like podcasts today of like September games don't matter. The best September team of all time is the Buffalo Bills. And every year everyone's like they're gonna win it all, and then they just slowly not collapse, but they can never kind of get over that hump. The Eagles have proven that they can get over that hump. I don't remember last year in the first 4 games seeing our offense with that much firepower in 4 games. I'd say the big concerning thing to me is like our run game. Like I think Saquon had like 30 yards or something on the ground.
Yeah.
Is that like last year he would get 30 yards and like
Jalen had
like
62 yards rushing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jalen had 62, Saquon had 43. It's bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And to Corey's point, right? Like let's say if this was the Bengals defense, or if this was the current Ravens defense, or the Cowboys defense, like we would be 0-4. Like our defense has strictly kept us in these games. I know that the two rookies, Makuba and Campbell, kind of
Mhm.
more Makuba, made a mistake on those like I don't know the 70-yard plays. But other than that, the Bucks could not get in the end zone. Besides
Yeah.
those kind of like
Yeah.
fluke plays, and the Eagles on all the money, and all the money downs, like third down, fourth down,
Mhm.
red zone
Mhm.
offense and red zone defense, they're the best. They're the best. But
They are.
for some reason, I made this point a couple weeks ago. Eagles can always like if you need them to score, they will, and
Yep.
they'll be in every game. But last year they ended up dominating, like NFC Championship dominated, Super Bowl dominated. Like we'll have the best half of our life and look like totally inept for the next 20 minutes, and I'm like, how does this happen? It like I was getting so fired up, but anyway,
Ryan, what do you do? Like, do you have a guess as to what happened? Like, give me your, yeah. What do you think happened? What do you think it was the Eagles' game plan coming out second half?
yeah, well, I mean, I follow Elliot Shore Parks a good bit, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he watches the all 22 for all the Eagles games. He said the first half was the best half of in terms of throwing the football that Jalen Hurts has
Yeah.
ever had.
Yeah.
Ever had. I was like, what? He said like especially that like when he was rolling and hit Devontae like at like the
Yeah.
6 yard
Yeah.
Oh
line,
yeah,
To his
yeah.
left side.
and he was like Jalen played out of his mind. So and in the first half we had an answer for every blitz package. In the second half, no blitz package was working. Like Hurts would just throw the ball to nothing, to out of bounds to AJ Brown. AJ Brown
Yeah.
9 targets, 2 catches. I honestly just think like the Bucks, I don't know, like Todd Bowles or the second half adjustments just absolutely wrecked us, and we had absolutely no answer.
Yeah.
But
I would add to that and say there were a couple factors. One, Lane Johnson going out, definitely was Steen going
again,
out and Johnson going out. Now Fred Johnson's not bad, but he's not Lane Johnson. And the moment Steen goes out, now Steen did come back and Pryor goes in. I mean, Pryor, I can't even comment anymore. It's too
mhm.
frustrating. But like, so that's one thing. But then two, Todd Bowles is making adjustments, right?
Yep,
He's going to come out
He's
and
one
he's
of
going to
the
and he
best defensive
yes,
adjusters in the game.
yes.
yeah, he's a
Here to
beast.
me, the biggest issue was that I don't know who you're blaming. Whether it's some people want to blame Sirianni, some people want to blame Petula, some people want to blame Jalen, but they came out with a conservative game plan, and this is what the Eagles do. Now, I predicted they would do this in the first half. I was incorrect. They didn't. I don't think they came out conservative. I think they came out really throwing the ball. I think they really tried to spread the field, and I think they did it effectively. But the moment the Eagles get the lead in a game, they go to that
That
conservative mode of,
that's a
and what
good
I mean by
point.
that is all the plays are just conservative. It's like slant, button hooks. Nothing's deep anymore. It's like just run these little like dink and
And
dunk
yeah,
plays. And the Bucks were like, we're gonna blitz you and we're gonna press you and we're gonna dare you to beat us over the top.
and
And
the reason why they do that is because the Eagles win every turnover battle. They win every game. And they're like, our defense will get the stops they need to. We just can't give them the game. And
yes,
that that has worked, but the Bucks had two amazing 70-yard plays that almost ruined that kind of game plan or scheme.
yes, but I would argue it was that scheme is the wrong scheme. I don't care if you're up
Yeah.
24. I don't care if you're up 31-13 or 24-6. That is never the right like schematic to take, and they should know that after two. You fail on two drives, say, okay, we're going to correct here. We're not just going to keep doing the same thing. And they
Hmm.
didn't do that. I actually think you have to give the defense not. You have to give the defense an A minus. It's not an A plus because they gave up the two big plays, but outside of the two big plays, they shut
Hmm.
down the run game the way that, unlike they did against the Rams, ran all over the Eagles
Yeah.
defense. I thought they made a huge adjustment on that standpoint. And
Yep.
then two, they were on the field for the entire second half
The whole
in
and
in
in a hard
110 degrees, exhausted. Dude, I don't know how you don't give the Eagles defense at least an A minus. The
yeah.
two
Yeah.
big plays would be the reason not. Besides that, I'd say they were flawless because they pressured Baker in the whole first half. And unfortunately, I think they were too tired in the second
Yep.
half because the offense decided to stick with the same approach and tried to force it to AJ. I truly think
Oh my gosh, they were
Jalen. I think
just yeah.
Jalen feels the pressure from AJ. We can get into AJ. I don't know how much you guys want to talk about it, but like I don't. Yeah, I think AJ was
Yeah.
clearly
So
frustrated. It didn't seem like he was giving a ton of effort.
the big difference. We can talk about the offense and defense. The difference makers the last two games was the special teams. If they didn't have that block punt for a touchdown, you just take those 7 points away, they would have lost. The game wouldn't have happened the exact same way, but still, same thing. And then Rams.
Yeah, they would have lost without that punt.
What's the difference with the Rams game? 2 blocked field goals.
Yeah. And historically, Corey, our special teams usually are below average.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
and now I would say your special teams might be the best in the league. And you've won 2 games because of it. And there's a chance you could be 2-2 right now if those teams are playing as well as they are.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that's a really good point.
Yeah. We could be 0-4 if Sedarian DeLeon actually had hands. And if Travis Kelce was going to play. So
I know, All right, so I want to touch on one quick thing before we transition to the Rams game. But obviously, a lot of the talk has been A.J. Brown, right? I think in the Rams game, you saw the talent that A.J. Brown has. And obviously, the past 3 years, he's been with the Eagles. So after the game, this man quotes a verse from the Bible. I'm sure you guys have
Mark
read
6.
it. I'm going to read it for us.
Go ahead.
He said, so it's Mark 6. He says, if you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and be on your way. I mean, I think that's like one of the worst things to tweet out after a game. And granted,
is that a trade request?
Yeah. So the Eagles haven't lost in an entire calendar year starting tomorrow. And our star receiver just tweets out that after being 4-0. Granted, we look terrible sometimes on offense. So we'll love your guys' thoughts on 1, what are your thoughts on that? And then 2, how long is he going to be on the Eagles? We'll go with Corey.
Go ahead, Corey.
Okay, so I'm obviously looking at this not as an Eagles fan and just enjoying the drama.
Yeah, I'm sure you're loving it.
I'm loving it. Especially the 4-0 Eagles, they need to be knocked down a little bit. So I'm glad AJ is doing his part. I actually think, Ryan, you made the best point. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. You have a generational wide receiver with A.J. Brown who's on a team that's primarily a run team and just not utilizing his talents. I can see why A.J. would be so frustrated. I love that he's a diva because now we get this fun stuff happening.
Oh, my gosh.
Is he going to be on the team much longer? Probably Hurts will come out saying, yeah, I talked to him. We're all good.
Yep.
He'll probably have some reconciled treat. He's done this type of thing before in the past.
Yeah, he has.
I can see why it happened too, because I'm sure after the Rams game, he probably was pretty high. See, I can do it. Just give me the ball. I can win you games and stuff. And then he wasn't really utilized much again the next game. And he wasn't hardly utilized at all the first 2 games. So probably the comparison to the Rams game is what spawned all of this, in my opinion. I love watching it though. I can't wait to see how it unfolds.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well said. Michael?
I would say there's 2 parts to analyze here. There's AJ's play and there's AJ's attitude off the field. One, well, and you're gonna be surprised by what I said. Well, first, the play. It's interesting. After the game, the Eagles have their post game, and Jason Avant, not that he was ever a star receiver, but he personally thinks that AJ is running poor routes. That was one of the things he talked about. He actually thought that on a few of the deep balls, the angle of route he was taking was forcing Jalen to basically throw the ball out of bounds. And then the ball would end up out of bounds. It happened twice, I think. And then AJ wouldn't even go for it and would just look back and be like, it's your fault. And he thinks that's a poor route running. And potentially this stuff is him deflecting from taking any responsibility. I mean, they threw the ball to him 9 times. He caught it twice. So I do think I think his play, there's a combo. I think he is, I personally think he's being a little bit lazy on his routes. I don't think he's giving full effort on those balls. And I think that I think that the play calling got conservative, and that was what he was frustrated by. Button hooks, the slants, they're not opportunities for him to really make a play down the field. In terms of off the field, the quick thing that I would say is I would actually say that this is his way to vent. And I think the media is going to go make up a ton of it, and that's okay. They can do that. I don't think the Eagles really care. And I think within the locker room, it's really not a big deal.
Mhm.
I think AJ is emotional and he needs to vent in some way. So the book last year, cool.
The
Honestly,
book, that book, dude.
go vent. If you need to vent that way, I'll take that. If that's your way of being a diva, all right, go post like that verse. Cool. Let the media run with it. Super, super fun. As long as the team doesn't really care and it doesn't really affect them, I don't think it matters. And it's different than him uh pouting all the time on the sideline, throwing his helmet, throwing his hand in the air, like making a mess in the locker room, yelling at guys, going to the team and saying, trade me. There's no proof that he's really done much of any of that. He,
Mhm.
looks frustrated on the field. Besides that, is a tweet like that really the end of the world? I think it's fine if he vents that way. As
I
long
think
as it
it's
doesn't
just a
affect the team
start.
from the locker room.
I think they're hiding things. They
Yeah.
have
They
all you
definitely,
Eagles fans fooled.
they definitely could be. They got rid
Yeah.
of CJ Gardner Johnson like
Like,
that.
yeah.
And I mean, obviously it's a little bit different, but I think
And
Howie
that
knows
man got
we need AJ.
released.
He did. We need AJ. That's the reality. If we're
We
gonna
need him.
go make a true run at the Super Bowl, you can't do it with Devontae as your number one. You need AJ as your number one. You don't need him every game. There's some games you need him like the Rams. There's some games you don't. AJ's gonna have to vent in his own way during the frustrations because they're gonna continue to happen. And that's the question, Corey. Like, will he
The
actually
Eagles release him.
explode?
The Rams pick him up off the waivers. We come back to Philly in the playoffs and beat you guys with
Oh my
AJ
gosh.
Brown.
Not
Whoa.
not nearly enough targets for AJ. He would lose his mind.
And
know, right?
this is last thing on the birds. Nothing against AJ. I don't think he's anywhere near the route runner that Puka Nacua is. I do think Puka benefits from the mind of McVay but I think Nakua is willing to go from anywhere, start from anywhere on the field. And I just think he's unbelievable. I mean, teams are like, well, we got to stop Puka, and they can't. They just can't. If
Yeah.
you aim to stop AJ, you'll stop him. Like you will. If you make it your goal, you won't do that for Puka. He's a better route runner. He's willing to be in more spots
Mhm.
throughout on the field. And so I think that definitely plays a big role.
Yeah. All right. My last thoughts on AJ is I hate this text or this Bible verse. Like who does this, dude?
Yeah.
If you're not welcome, not listened to quietly withdraw. Like he knows
Not
it's gonna
really
be everywhere.
quietly.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, what does withdraw and walk away even mean? It's so cryptic. Like to him, that
Yeah.
might be, hey, don't go make a big deal about it. Keep it to yourself. Keep your emotions to yourself. Process it yourself and move forward. You could take it as that, or you could take it as, oh, I went out. That's what the media is going to say, right?
I think.
What do you think AJ's doing?
Yeah. I took it more as like this is the beginning of the end. And last year I never felt that. But anyway, topic for another day. So, all right, we're going to transition. So, good win by the Birds. We'll kind of go into some predictions soon. So, go into the Rams versus Colts. Honestly, 10 out of 10 game. I call up most of this on Red Zone. I actually watched the last 5-10 minutes, which were incredible.
So good.
Yeah. So, final
Great
score,
game.
Rams won 27-20. I would say the Rams had an incredible 88-yard touchdown pass to Corey's boy, Tutu Atwell, which I just imagine his speed on Madden's like at 100. Like he's like
he weighs like 175.
Yeah.
So he's so small.
Yeah. Stafford had a good game, 29 of 41, 375 yards, 3 touchdowns. Puka again just kind of dominates games. This man had 13 catches, 170 yards, and a touchdown. The Colts receiver, I forget his first name, but Mitchell fumbled the ball.
AD.
Yeah.
Adonai,
Had my least favorite play in all of sports is just actually this time he didn't like drop it like Deshaun Jackson did. He just literally like lost it out of his hands.
I don't think he was celebrating. I think he just lost it.
Yeah,
I think he was starting to like reach out with the ball. And if people listening don't know what happened, so what was it in the second quarter, third quarter, second quarter, Daniel Jones had a long pass to Adonai Mitchell.
Yeah.
Probably like, I don't know, maybe 70 plus yards or something like that. Gets past the Rams secondary. He's kind of starting to celebrate, reaching the ball out, and the ball falls out of his hand at the 1 yard line. He dives for it, trying to catch it, and almost inadvertently pushes it out the back of the end zone, turns a long touchdown pass into 1st and 10 on the Rams, 20 for the Rams.
Yeah. Crazy. I mean,
Unreal.
just look at that swing. And
Mm.
then also the Rams had a 60-yard touchdown run by Jonathan Taylor that was correctly
That was
called a
called
hold
back.
by the
Yep.
that was called back, which honestly was one of the best runs of the year based on
Hmm.
his tackle. So that was kind of unfortunate to see, but Cam Curl had an interception, I think, in the final minute or two that kind of sealed the
2
win.
picks for Curl, baby.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. So overall, awesome game. Actually going to start with Mike this time. So Mike, any what are your thoughts on the game? Any key takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, one quick on the Colts for AD Mitchell. I don't even think he was supposed to play. I think Pierce got concussed for them. So
Oh,
this guy
really?
steps in, makes this huge play, fumbles it into the end zone, and then he also gets called for the hold. Yeah, he was called for the hold. I don't know if you
Oh
know
my
that.
gosh.
Oh, really?
So
In
Oh, it was
Buffalo?
he
him.
was the hold. AD Mitchell was the
Oh,
guy
Oh,
holding.
oh
And
I didn't know
I
that.
I watched it because I was like, there's no way this guy had this two these big mistakes. He the hold was a hold, but it
Yep.
didn't really affect the play. That was the saddest thing for the Colts. It's
Yeah.
like
Right.
Yep.
people are like, well, if it doesn't affect the play, I'm like, well, a hold's a hold. I mean,
Yep.
they also say you could call a hold on any play, but it was an obvious hold that didn't affect the play. Dude, talk about handing the game to the Rams. I mean, a single guy does it. But hey, I mean, look, we're talking about the Eagles getting some things going their way.
Hmm.
Both those are huge, huge plays for the Rams. There were a couple of things I think stood out for the Rams. One, Puka just continues to dominate on a level that's terrifying. Two,
Dominate.
another touchdown to Devontae Adams, which I just think shows the importance of him and Stafford building that connection.
Yep.
I think Devontae only had 4 catches though.
4. Yep.
So so
But I think his
I think
presence just is shown
that's the
through
thing. It
Puka.
does. Yes. So I think the big thing is going to be this. Can Devontae Adams be okay settling into that number 2 role with how good Puka is? Devontae is going to have to, similar to, well, kind of like AJ Brown, he's going to have to say, I'm okay with this is Puka's team, really.
Hmm.
I'm the
Hmm.
second to the sky. I'm not the Batman anymore. I'm the Robin. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out moving forward. I
Yep.
think as long as
Hmm.
he's scoring touchdowns,
It's a
he'll be
good point.
happy.
Yep.
And then I think defensively for the Rams, you had I don't know if you guys saw this. So on the Colts' second to last drive, I think
Hmm.
Verse creates a fumble that
Yep.
leads
Yes.
to a punt. So
Yes.
most people wouldn't realize that they weren't watching. It wasn't an actual fumble. The Colts recovered it, but it put them
Right.
so far back they then had to
So
punt that
far back.
led to
Hmm.
the Tutu Atwell touchdown that then led to the Cam Curl interception. So I just think for the Rams, it's like you got your big time players making the big time plays, and I think that's how you want to win in the NFL.
Hmm. Well said.
All right.
Corey?
So if the Rams won last week, I think all the talk would be, are the Rams the number 1 team
Hmm.
in at least the NFC? I don't know if the argument could be made over like the Bills right now, but
Yeah.
I think the Rams are just playing well all around. We're
They are.
forcing turnovers. We're winning games both because of offense and defense. Seems like every time Matthew Stafford drops back, it seems like someone's open for a 9-yard or more gain. Like he's pushing the ball down the field. Our offense is looking really strong. This is probably the best I think the Rams have looked starting a season
Oh,
in
for
many,
sure.
many years.
Mm,
The Rams historically, even our Super Bowl run year, like we just start slow. It
mm,
just always has. And they just don't look like they're starting slow. And I felt like with Stafford missing a lot of the offseason, it was going to lead to a slow start. Like that's everything I was prepared for. And we haven't played, I mean, the Eagles are really good. The Titans weren't the greatest. Like I feel like we've gotten a good mix of good and bad teams too. After week 2 being 2-0, I wasn't super thrilled quite yet. I was happy the Rams started off strong, but we weren't really tested. Then after the Eagles game, even though we lost, I felt like, okay, the Rams showed they could play against a good team. Who knows what the Colts are going to end up being at the end? I think it's too early to say. They were 3-0, so there's some merit to that, but they're still the Colts, and they still weren't like preseason favorites or anything like that.
Mhm.
But the game itself, I thought was great. It's great to me when I see a game won because of all aspects of the game. Like I think that Rams special teams played well. We didn't get a blocked field goal this week, so that was a good step up from last week. Forced 3 turnovers. One of them was a late interception, but it wasn't just like Daniel Jones was throwing it up, hoping for a Hail Mary and the Rams caught it. Like there was still 50 seconds left. They were driving down the field. So it was still a legitimate turnover that sealed us the game. And then we had the forced fumble that wasn't recovered that Mike already mentioned. And then earlier we had a forced fumble, and earlier we had an interception. So the defense is playing good this year. And our offense is keeping up as well too. And Puka, he's incredible. Like he just seems like he's open every game. At the end of the game, it was 13-20, Colts up. It was a 4th and 3, and guess who got the touchdown on that play? Puka Nacua, just a little slant, caught it and just got into the end zone, got it 20-20. And then not long after, we had that 80-yard plus bomb to Tutu. It just, how do you stop the Rams passing offense right now? It's hard to say.
Seriously.
Yeah. Honestly, like good points. I think the main key takeaways for me was, one, I was impressed by the Colts. I think you can tell that they were 3-0 for a reason. It just shows that football is just like, it's a 4-hour game, or sorry, 3.5-hour game, whatever. It is such a game of inches. Like with Mitchell losing the fumble, with Verse creating that, kind of sack fumble, moving back, like the blocked field goal. It's just like such little things can happen that determine the outcome of a game. I think that's what makes football so great, and why you kind of get into each little play and every drive. And I don't know. I think that's awesome. I do agree with Corey. I think this is the best the Rams have looked in a while. I also, like I said last week, I like the Colts. I like to see them do well. I have a heart for Daniel Jones, so I was kind of rooting for him in a way. I was actually rooting against the Rams just for the Eagles' seeding purposes, and because the Rams are very scary. I do think, I don't know how you take anyone in the moment, like based on their situation, over Puka. Like obviously you have like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, but like with their quarterback situations, with Joe Burrow being out and the Vikings having, I don't know, a Carson Wentz play, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like Puka and Matthew Stafford is the best one-to-one combo right now in terms of efficiency, how many catches, and Sean McVay's kind of game planning, I think, in the league. So I think those two things are huge. I will say I predicted both games right. Shocker. But I knew
think we should do a bonus point if you predict the score correctly.
Did you? Yeah.
You would think that, wouldn't you, Mike?
I don't know. I'm the first one to predict a score correctly. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to say it's impressive. No, not a score, not an exact score.
Not an exact score. But
I got an exact score.
Last question, kind of on the Rams here. So I was trying to think, what do you think, and Corey, maybe this is directed towards you, and Mike, you can chime in. I'm trying to figure out what the Rams' weakness is. Maybe it's special teams, but you guys just blocked the field. What do you think you guys need to improve on to like take that next step this year?
Last game, I think it's maybe some of the inconsistencies versus the Colts. We kind of got lucky. We gave up 2 long touchdowns, one to Taylor and one to Mitchell, and we just kind of got lucky that neither one of them turned into anything.
That's a good point.
I think the Titans game, we could just kind of let them stay in it a little bit long. The Eagles game, like, just you should be able to block. Like you let 2 block or field goals get blocked. Like I think it's just the inconsistency. But kind of to what Mike was talking about earlier, like that's kind of September football. I think the Rams are really primed to be a strong team this season. Once they get those things tightened up, because that's just September football. That's the inconsistencies, the big plays, things like that. I'll love to see more tests versus the Rams, especially after the Eagles. I think the Colts were a good test.
Yeah, I think they were too.
I'm thinking a couple more top tier teams, just seeing how the Rams handle that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll give you two weaknesses. One, obviously their corners, I think, are the biggest weakness on the team. I think the Eagles exposed that a little bit. And again, if A.D. Mitchell, who's kind of a bum, doesn't fumble into the end zone, we might be talking about the corners, got burned again. I don't say the whole defense though, because I do think the D line and the linebackers are pretty solid. I think the corners are the weakness of the D. And then I think offensively, I think the Rams are the exact opposite of the Eagles. The Eagles struggle to move the ball in general, but when they get in the red zone, they are perfect. When the Eagles are in the red zone, they score a touchdown, 11 for 11. Facts. The Rams, I think when they get into the red zone, they struggle to actually convert into a touchdown every time. That was the whole reason they lost to the Eagles. They kept kicking field goals instead of getting and actually scoring a touchdown and making the most. So the Eagles have way less red zone trips, I think, this year. I need to see what the Rams red zone trips are, but they have way less. But I think they have like the same or more touchdowns because they convert every time. So that's what the Rams need to get better at is they'll move the ball up and down the field all day. Can they convert on the 3rd and 4 at the 15-yard line to then score a touchdown instead of kicking?
Without a tush push.
Hey, we didn't need the tush push this week.
Hey, how about that fake? That fake was sick.
3 fakes, dude. They faked 3 of them.
That fake was so good, wasn't it?
It was so good. But like the 2 dishes to Goddard, they it looked like it was going to be QB sneak / or some form of a touch push, and they just shoveled it to him both times. So.
Yep. All right, perfect. That kind of sums up the Rams, Colts, Eagles, Bucs. Next, we'll kind of get into predictions for next week. Rams actually play on Thursday night.
Are you dealing with nagging pain in your neck or low back? How about your shoulders or hips, elbows or knees? How about your ankles or your feet? At Restorative Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation in Thorndale, we're one of the only private clinics in the area providing true one-on-one care focused on relieving pain and restoring movement. Get back to doing what you love. Schedule your appointment today with Restorative Physical Therapy. Restorative Physical Therapy, relieve your pain, regain your life.
Just wanted to give Corey and I a quick shout out. We both predicted the Eagles and Rams victory. Mike unfortunately went against his own team and got the L. Mike, any high level thoughts on that?
High level thoughts on
your wrong prediction.
You being wrong.
I mean, I have a text.
This is Mike's first. Oh no, he's going to bring up what I said. Well done.
Texts.
Well done.
I have multiple texts from Ryan saying the Eagles are done. They're going to lose.
All right. Well said. I'm a very pessimistic fan in the moment, but I like to think on these podcasts I have a clear head. But anyway, we're going to move on to this week. So Rams actually play Thursday night football against Corey's second favorite team in the league, not his least favorite, the San Francisco 49ers, who are always, I don't know, they're always a well-coached team. I'm not sure how good they are this year, but they're both 3-1. This is in LA. The Rams, according to my ESPN bet, are 4.5-point favorites. So yeah, let's start with you, Core. What do you think are some key matchups? How do you think this game's going to go? Give us your thoughts. I know you love San Fran, so try and be nice.
I absolutely love 49ers there by far. I love the 49ers as much as you guys love the Cowboys.
Yeah. Yep.
Thursday night. Hate them. It is at the Rams, and it's going to be a Rams away game. The 49ers think it's funny to send every fan they have to SoFi and make it a home game for the 49ers. It happens every single year, and it's
terrible.
It's just a sea of red in our stands. We're practicing silent count because Stafford can't hear anything in LA. I'm hoping because of I think this 49ers 3-1 record is deceiving. I don't think they're that good. And I'm hoping the fans see that too and say, hey, maybe we don't want to make the drive to LA. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. I legitimately don't think the 49ers are as good as they have been, though. It's funny. If the season ended today, they'd actually, and I know we're only 4 games in, but they would win the NFC West, and the Rams are actually in the 6th seed because the Seahawks have better conference record than us. So it's just funny, like how that plays out with the NFC West is like we're 3rd right now, but like on paper we don't seem like we're the 3rd, and I think that's just the beginning of the season type of thing while records are all playing out.
Yeah,
and the 49ers, they're extremely banged up. I don't know. I don't think Purdy is back next week, is he? Do you guys know?
Oh, so he just played on Sunday.
He just played. See, that's how much I don't like.
Jags, he threw a pick, fumbled twice. No, threw 2 picks and fumbled.
I thought he threw he was
trash. He was terrible.
Yeah.
So Purdy isn't playing that well, which is probably going to do good for the Rams because, as we talked about, corners might or might not be one of their weaknesses. So if Purdy isn't throwing the ball well, they're not blocking well, the Rams are getting after him, I think that's going to be a key matchup to watch for, is just our corners having a better game than it seems like they've had in the past. I don't think anyone can match up with Nakua on the 49ers. They don't have a strong defense right now. I know I sound like I just hate the 49ers because I do, but
not a lot of nice things being said.
No, not at all. The biggest thing that's just annoying with them is them just coming to SoFi and just making it a home game for them. And I know that's going to happen again, but we typically have lost a ton to the 49ers in the past. We always beat the Seahawks. We tended to always lose to the 49ers. Everyone beats the Cardinals. I'm hoping that's not the case this year again. When we won the Super Bowl, we lost to the Niners both times in the regular season, but then won against them. So I'm excited for the game. I just hate the Niners. I think they're not as good anymore, and I hope that's true.
Well said. I agree with most of your points. Michael?
So this game really shouldn't even be close. I mean, the reason it could be close, I guess, is just divisional matchup.
Yeah.
So Purdy did play. He turned it over 3 times against the Jags. San Fran's D is just not the same. They lost their safety. What was his name? Fungo, whatever his name was. He's out. They lost I think their best corner, and now Nick Bosa's done for the year. So offensively, they don't have Ayuk back. They lost Kittle, and because it's a Thursday night game, their receivers Pearsall and Jawan Jennings got banged up on Sunday. They're both questionable, and Purdy's questionable. None of them practiced today.
And McCaffrey is like 22 and right out of college.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? So I just don't know who, like, if someone was trying to make an argument to me, like, I'm trying to even think of matchups right now. I'm like, well, okay. I mean, 49ers don't really have receivers because even the ones they have are banged. Defensively, they have star defensive end from the Eagles, Bryce Huff, who is absolute trash. And
well, everyone knows Bryce Huff.
I don't even dude. Fred Warner, at least, I guess, is in the middle there. I don't even know if I can.
He's good.
He's good, but
else. Fred Warner is legit. I mean, he's a top linebacker, but dude, you can't have that and expect to dominate defensively.
Bryce Huff, dude, what a pickup.
So what I wanted to look up was because I still don't think their defense did that poorly against the pass against the Jags, right? So what did Goldilocks throw against them? Trevor Lawrence went 21 to 31 for 174. In my opinion, Goldilocks is trash. So he's bottom 5 quarterback in the league.
Really?
He throws
5?
That's extreme. I'm exaggerating.
No, but yeah.
But anyone who wants to put him top 15 or even top 10 is ridiculous. He shouldn't even
What
be
about number 1?
Yeah, right. So if he throws for 200 against them, ETN had 124 on the ground. What's Stafford going to do with those receivers? So the biggest question here is, if the line's -5.5, why would you not take the Rams? Because the Rams' biggest weakness, we just said, is their corners.
I see 4.5.
Yeah.
4.5?
No, actually,
4.5.
Yeah. Yep, 4.5.
Okay. So, dude, they're doing that because it's a divisional game.
Yeah,
and maybe
agreed.
They're banking on all these Niners fans going down to LA, so it's going to be a away game for the Rams. But
they get a home field advantage.
Niners fans are a bunch of wusses anyway. Those are, they serve wine and cheese at their football
Finally,
games.
a good point you're making.
Those guys are they're soft. So you're not. Anyway, Ryan, I'm interested to hear what you said. I just don't see where do the Niners really. Where are they a threat to the Rams? I don't see it.
Yeah,
it is.
So I think Mike and Corey, but mainly Mike because you were at this game. I am still scarred from that 2022 Niners game in Philly that you were at, brother.
I was at the game. It was rough.
And Debo had 2-3 touchdowns, and it was an absolute rout. Eagles have not been. I've never seen them dominated like that. In years. Since we had Chip Kelly and Jeff Garcia as our quarterback. So the Niners always scare me because I feel like they're such a well-coached team. I would say Mike Shanahan is almost as good as Sean McVay. I know they're from the same coaching tree. I know
Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, sorry, Kyle Shanahan. Yeah.
Mike's
his dad. You're right. I think Kyle, right? He gets to the big game twice and just cannot finish it. In terms of execution, but the Niners always scare me, and I don't disagree with your guys' points. I just think that, and Corey, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but from my perspective, I feel like the Niners somewhat have the Rams number in a way, at least these past couple years.
I'm definitely not denying that. I hate playing the Niners because of that reason. I just feel like no matter how good we are, they just find a way to win. It seems like that. It just seems like they have our number.
Yep. And I think back to when the Niners were really good. They run the ball, right? It doesn't matter who they have. They had Mozart back there, or
Mostert, Raheem
Mostert, yeah. Or I forget McCaffrey. The other guy who sub behind McCaffrey, but I think they're very similar to the Eagles. They're very in the trenches. That's why I think they always matched up well with the Eagles. So I do think this game will be close, but I think
who are they in the trenches with though? That team that I watched, that was the greatest. It was the greatest defensive front that I personally believe has ever existed in the NFL. Now people would differ because they're gonna point back to maybe
the fearsome foursome.
But dude, the combo of Nick Bosa with Chase Young, both played at Ohio State, by the way, and I watched both of them beat Penn State in a whiteout a few years before going to the Niners, and then I watched them beat it was horrible. It was a nightmare. I'm like, oh my gosh, I already watched these guys do this in college. Now I'm watching them both do it on the same team. That was the year they picked up Chase Young for half the year before he went to the Saints. But they had Eric Armstead, who by the way is on the Jags now, and he created the fumble on Purdy yesterday. Plus they had Greenlaw and Warner. Well, Greenlaw's gone. Bosa's out. Chase Young's gone. Eric Armstead's gone. Hufanga, the safety's gone. They've lost the corners. So who's even there? It's Bryce Huff, bro. What are we talking
honestly,
about? Now they do have who's their what's his face? Their defensive coordinator. Who's the Jets head coach?
Saleh.
That dude is probably 3% body fat. And
dude, he's a straight
absolutely
man.
Shredded. I don't know what it is about someone like that when they're bald and shredded and that intense. You're just that guy alone could coach a defense and just turn them into monsters. So if you're going to say
he was chirping at Cohen too. Did you see the Cohen and him going
at it? It was a misunderstanding by Cohen. Cohen thought he insulted him, and he wasn't. He was just saying, "You're so good, it seems like you're cheating." And Cohen took it as you're cheating. So then Salah went up and said, FFFF, I will effing kill you. And Cohen
it's a big misunderstanding. It'll all blow over.
But kind of no, Mike. I do agree with your points. I think I'm just scarred from the Niners as well. They're a team that I fear, but I do agree. Like they're kind of a shell of what they were, despite their record. Um, and
Yeah.
I I don't know how I feel about Brock Purdy. I don't feel like he's good enough to take them over the hump of, the lack of talent, injuries. Like they have no George Kittle. They have no Debo anymore. CMC's a year older.
No Ayuk.
No Ayuk.
Pearsall and Jennings are both potentially not going to play. So who's he throwing to? Give me one guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Here, I have to pull up their depth chart.
Let's look at this.
He's going to throw it to
McCaffrey. Every play.
Kendrick Bourne.
Kendrick Bourne, dude. Yes. He was on my taxi squad, Corey.
And then who's after? You got Demarcus Robinson and Sky Moore. Remember Sky Moore scoring
on the Chiefs,
the Birds in the Super Bowl. There you go. Those are their guys.
Yeah. So honestly, good point, and I feel like we're all leaning there a certain type of way. So let's get into predictions for the game. I can go first.
Well, so real quick, do you want to give score prediction? Because if so, what's the point if we're not giving some form of credit for actually predicting the score correctly?
Well, who needs credit? Who needs it?
I just think you should if you predict the game correctly, you get a point.
It's
a
fair
point.
Score
right, you get a point.
Yeah, I'm honestly
up the points.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that because predicting the actual score is literally impossible.
So hard to get.
Check the FanDuel odds. It's like $2 to win 200 anytime you predict.
All right,
score.
So
no. You still get one. You still get one.
All right, cool. Well, we're all tied then.
No, I'm in last.
Because
the Eagles
because you got
the homer.
Yeah. You wanted me to say that.
Okay, but it's what is it? It's 6 to 6 to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's by
no 5 to 5 to 4.
Yeah, 5-5-4.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, because of one game. Yeah. All right, so kind of my prediction for this game, I do think it's a disadvantage for the Rams, just because San Fran's traveling down. I do semi disagree with your guys' comments. I do feel like I know their fans aren't great, but I do feel like they travel well, and I feel like they're one of the prominent franchises. Every 49ers game I go to, you see Jerry Rice on the sideline with 8 rings. He's like,
Yeah, they'll always travel well.
Always. Yeah, they always travel well.
So, they do travel well. You're right, and I'm pretty sure I made that point.
You did. So I would say they keep it close because it's an in-division game. I'm actually going to say that the 49ers cover the spread. I'm going to say 24-20. But I'm going to go Rams. I just think, kind of to Mike's point, I don't know who's going to cover Puka. I don't think they have the pass rush to get to Stafford, even though Stafford can barely move. But yeah, I'm going to go 24-20 Rams. On to you, Core.
All right. I, in previous years, would probably say 49ers, but I am going to say Rams, and I'm going to say 35-20.
Whoa.
Love it. Okay, Core.
I don't know how the Niners are scoring 20 points. I'm going to say it's probably going to be Mac Jones, and he's throwing to Kendrick Bourne. So I'm going to say 27-17 Rams. Rams scored the same thing back-to-back weeks. When I get this right again, I want double points.
Honestly, predicting the score is very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I mean, that's one. We'll see who gets the most score predictions right by the end of the year.
Yeah. All right, perfect. All right, so we got our predictions in. Any last thoughts on this game on Thursday night before we kind of moved on to the Eagles? Any last thoughts? Are all good?
I'm excited for the Rams to have a divisional game.
Yeah.
We obviously haven't had one yet. I think it's going to start to show, hopefully, that the Rams are a top-tier team. I don't hear much about the Rams a lot still. But if you look at the conference rating, we're not really high up. And it's just so many teams are 4-0 or 3-1. I'm excited for the next couple months for that to separate a little bit more and really see which teams are the good ones and which ones aren't. I think the 49ers are really struggling this year. I think they could have a down year. I think overall they still have a good roster. I think they just are struggling with a lot of injuries this year. And I think the Rams are just playing really well all around. So, and then you have Seattle, who I think is a bit of a wild card in the NFC West. I think they could be a good team. I'm just excited to start seeing some of these divisional matchups in the West to kind of see that playing out.
Yeah. Tired of playing all these AFC opponents.
I know, right? I want more Eagles.
Yeah. Running back in Philly for like the sixth time in a year and a half.
I just want to watch them lose and my heart break again.
But dude, if you guys do win, how sweet would that feel?
Oh, so good. And then we have a mini bye week there. Long weekend. Man, that's gonna feel good.
That's gonna feel good. All right. Next game. So funny story about this. This is Eagles Broncos. It's a kind of our time to face a AFC team. This is 1:00 home game at the Link. Mike was actually there, but I actually won tickets to this in a raffle. And sadly, I cannot attend based on our
golf over everything.
Our golf trip. These are lower level seats, so I'm honestly crushed. But my plan is to sell them and try to use the proceeds for a different game.
You didn't sell them yet?
No, because I'm waiting for my dad. Well, I'm trying to sell them to my dad, so I don't have to pay like the.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Dude, then sell them and use the money for when we go to the Raiders game.
There you go. Exactly. So I'm a little bit bummed I'm not going to this game. Home game 4-0, but could be a trap game. So Mike, we'll start with you. Anything that you're kind of thinking of for the game? I know the Broncos are not a team that at least myself have watched a ton of. They're actually playing right now against the Bengals at home.
They're down 3-0.
They're down 3-0.
Bengals are driving.
The Broncos are currently 1-2. Eagles are 4-0. Eagles are 5.5-point favorites currently. But yeah, Mike, would love your kind of high level thoughts on the game.
Yeah, I mean the Broncos are interesting. I mean, first thing to note is they're playing Monday night, so it'll be a short week coming to Philly. They have to travel across the country. They're playing a 1:00 game, which for them is going to be 11, I think.
Yep.
So the classic having to play an earlier game on a short week is definitely a disadvantage to them. How much does it actually impact them? I don't know, but I think that's somewhat of a disadvantage because it's just a shorter week and less time for them. The comments on Bo Nix have been interesting. Comments from him have been that, he doesn't really look as good as people hoped he would coming into his sophomore year. I just looked up some of his stats. I mean, he's throwing game one, he threw for like 175 yards. Then he threw for like 200 against the Colts, and he threw for like 150 last week. So he's not getting a ton of yards throwing, and his averages are low. So like against the Colts, he threw it 175 yards, but he threw it like he had 25 completions. So his average completion was like 4 yards, which it's almost like Sean Payton, the Mr. Purse-lipped guy. I can't get over Sean's face, man. I can't even look at it. It's like so annoying.
I do not like him.
I want to punch him in the face. I don't know what it is with the purse lips. But it seems like he's like trying to keep things like, I guess, simpler for Bo Nix. Which I'm a little bit surprised. I thought they'd be trying to let it loose. I think after week one, because Nix threw 2 picks, I think they're trying to rein it back in, kind of like the Birds did with Jalen last year. So I think they're just trying to simplify things and have him turn the ball over less. I personally think he is prone to turnovers. I think the Eagles will create at least 1, if not 2 turnovers, whether that's a fumble or 2 picks. It's going to be interesting defensively for the Birds. So what we didn't get into with the Bucs at all is Keely Ringo started that game because Adoree Jackson's hurt. Ja'Cory Bennett's now on the IR. And, I mean, you didn't see him get burned. Thought it was a little bit interesting. Now, he covered Sterling Shepard, who's trash. So, but they didn't really target him, which was interesting. So it'll be interesting. I'm looking at
That's a good point.
So like receiver depth chart for Broncos is Cortland Sutton, Troy Franklin, and Marvin Mims. So that Sutton Mims, I don't know. Are they that good? I don't really know. Yeah. So like I'm not that afraid of like because my biggest fear has been if you get a team with 2 legit receivers
and kind of like the Rams, and a coach who's ready to go try to exploit your weakness, they're just going to go after your weakest corner. I don't feel like the Broncos are going to do that, so I'm not going into this game. That when I'm looking at that matchup, I'm not that afraid of Keeley getting burned. So I think Keeley's going to get the start again. I think he played well enough, and I'm excited to see kind of what he has. So I'll be looking matchup wise. Keeley, I'm always going to look like honestly every week it's going to be who's the Eagles CB2 and who's he got to cover. That's always going to be in my mind because that's where they're most at risk of getting absolutely burned.
Yeah.
And then I think I'm going to be looking at the offensive line and how aggressive their play calling is offensively. Is Lane Johnson going to be playing? Can we keep Matt Pryor out of the game at all costs? And can they play aggressively?
Love it. Good points, Mike. Core?
So I'll go back to kind of what I said earlier, that I think the Eagles we're at a point of a make or break. They've had a couple games here where they've had a lot of struggle. And something to think about, they've played good teams their first 4 weeks. The Dallas, they always play well. Then you have Kansas City, you have the Rams, and then Tampa, who's always a risk. You're going into a game now where you should win versus Denver. And I think that that's a dangerous spot to be for a team that's kind of at a make or break point. Where are they going to go in there and win like they should, or are they going to go in there and struggle? And now the players are sitting on the sideline thinking, crap, we had 10 yards of offense in the first quarter or the first half versus a team that's not very good. Like, how's A.J. Brown going to handle that? Like, you guys have some personalities on your team. And I think a couple of seasons ago, when the Eagles started, 10-1 or 10-0, and then they had pretty much lost every game after that. I think you had a moment like that where you started seeing some of these personalities on the sideline get frustrated and the team cohesion start to break down. I think the Eagles can definitely prevent that. I hope that that's not going to happen for the Eagles. I kind of don't think it is going to happen for the Eagles, but I think that's, in my opinion, the biggest risk in the upcoming game. I don't think it's matchups. I just think, how are they going to bounce back from 2 games that haven't been the best game, but they've been able to win? They've had 4 games here where they have tough opponents, and now they're going into a week where they should win. What is that going to look like?
Yeah, honestly, really good points, Corey. When I was thinking about kind of what my prediction were for the game, I thought a lot about that. So we obviously have one of the best records in the NFL, and I think we have the best record even over the Bills, over like our strength of schedule in terms of like the amount of wins our opponents that we've beaten have won. And now we go Broncos, Giants, Vikings, Giants. And then we gear up for probably the hardest stretch. I think we go I think it's Lions, Packers, Lions, Cowboys. And so I do think on paper the Eagles should absolutely dominate and win. But what have we seen kind of these past few weeks? There's been no dominant victory. A.J. Brown has a quote from the Bible about withdrawing himself. So what do teams do when someone's unhappy? They try and force feed him the ball. You know who A.J. Brown's going against this week? The number 1 corner in the NFL, Surtain. And right, like that seems like it could be like not the best recipe on paper. The thing that's giving me hope is, like, obviously to Mike's point, they're traveling across the country. I just looked, they're actually going to London the week after. So I assume that they're packing for Philly and then going right to London after. So like, imagine the logistics with travel, with like family, with all your packing.
Not to mention they're playing tonight, Monday. So they already have a shorter week.
Yeah, exactly. So Core, I do agree with all your points. I just do feel like that Nick and our coaching staff does a great job of getting our players like ready to play and like just pumped up to play. And I do think that a lot of the fans have complained that there's no back-to-back home games this year at the link, but I think it's awesome from a player perspective because like
Mm-hmm.
if you have 3 home games in a row, like by home game 2 or 3, usually the price drops on StubHub.
Mm,
People are like, "Oh, I went last week. I'll sell," you know what I mean? And the players could
right.
feel similar, like, "Oh, like we were just here," but
That's a great point.
they're coming back to the link after playing in the freaking 120-degree heat. So it's like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
we're pumped up to play in front of our home crowd again, that type of thing. So I do think that the Eagles should win and will win. But I was kind of flip-floppy. I think in terms of matchups, I think it's AJ Brown versus Surtain. I think
Yep.
it's honestly, I'm really curious to see how we're going to react if we still can't run the ball. If we
Yeah.
if if Saquon has the first 5 carries goes for 2 yards a carry or less. Um, but I just think it's too difficult of a task for the Broncos to come into the link and win, unless we're just completely flat.
hmm
That's my thoughts.
Yep.
But all right, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, we'll start for predictions. I feel like we're all leaning a certain way, except maybe Core. So Mike, well, we'll start with you. Predictions for the Birds Broncos.
Um, yes, this one could feel like a trap game, but I think with the Broncos being on a short week, Bo Nix, I think, still trying to work through his sophomore year. Um, the Eagles will just find a way to win the game. I don't think it really matters how they'll do it.
Hmm.
I think that's the Eagles' strength is they will win in every possible way. So
Yeah.
whether they go down, my hope actually is that the Broncos go up early and the Eagles are forced to go throw the ball around and really be aggressive
Hmm.
offensively.
hmm hmm
I don't. I mean, again, I still am holding to what is it? It's going to be October. They're going to play this big first weekend of October.
hmm
How you look, in my opinion, still really doesn't matter. Uh,
Hmm.
but it's worth, in my opinion, them seeing them being forced into out of the uh, conservative offense. So
hmm
I'm going to say Birds take it. I'm going to say it's going to be close though. So I'll go 23-20. Eagles win
Mm,
by 3.
love it. Core?
We should see what the line is. Anyone know what the line is on the game?
I think it's 4.5 or 5. I just had it.
Yeah, so I'm going to say
It is
Broncos
four.
cover.
It's 5.5 right now on
5
ESPN Sportsbook.
on
Yeah.
CBS. It's 3.5.
Dude,
Yeah.
why are they so different?
How so?
That's too weird.
So I'm gonna still go with I think the Eagles. Despite what I said, I don't think Denver's gonna be coming in set up and primed to win the game and cause the Eagles to
Mm,
stumble. Just based off
mm,
of everything we've talked about. Shorter week, away game. The
mm.
Link, I think, is one of the hardest stadiums to play in right now. The Broncos are not playing their best football ever. I think Nix is figuring out his sophomore year a little bit, and then they're on their way to London right after. Um,
Mm.
I think under different circumstances, I honestly would take the Broncos. Like if it was a home game, Nix is playing well.
Yeah.
Eagles are I think just the situation is actually set up for the Broncos to lose again.
Mm.
And I don't think they're even set up to win or keep it close. So my prediction is Eagles 35-10.
Wow.
Ooh. Route. I would love nothing more than to have a route in front of Sean Payton. Mike,
hmm
wasn't Sean Payton who did the Bounty Gate?
hmm Yep.
I think it was.
It
Yeah.
was with the Saints.
Gosh, dude. And then he has that famous interview after the Rams game where it was that non-PI call.
Yep.
Yes.
I didn't see
And
anything.
So, dude, so ridiculous.
that was
I
that
still
was
Clean
can't see
play.
wild.
his face, dude.
Clean play.
Face. I would love
Wasn't called.
straight into his face, just grab his head
I love it. I love it.
and
So yeah, I agree with your guys' point. I feel like this is a perfect trap game, but I'm gonna go with the Eagles based on kind of the points I made. And I don't think there's gonna be many Denver Bronco fans that are traveling to Philly. Um, for this game, so it's just going to be loud. It's going to be all birds.
Bronco country. Let's ride.
Oh my gosh, dude! Nothing made me more mad than watching Mr. Unlimited. Unlimited. Oh my gosh. And anyway, so I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go similar to Mike. I think the Birds win by a little bit more. I'm gonna go 17 to like 24. I think they win by a touchdown. I do think they cover it. I don't really have a prediction of how it's going to go because these games have been so hard to predict. I just really hope that AJ doesn't tweet out another Bible verse after this one.
Dude,
unless it's like
it's his weight event. It's his weight event, man. Let him do his thing. He's emotional. He's got I'm seriously. My argument is like let him and the media will make a big deal about it. And they'll be like, oh my gosh. But who cares? Let the media say what they want.
He's like, yay, though I walk through the valley of shadow and death.
but in all honesty, you think Jalen? Do you think it affects Jalen? Jalen's just like, all right.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know what.
I don't think it really makes a difference.
Dude, my favorite Jalen is when he's on like Percocet after the Rams game,
and he's
he's like rain, sleet or snow, Eagles train to go. That's the only like funny thing he's ever said, and now that he's so stoic.
Dude, it's so stupid.
Yeah, it's so stupid. But all right, got our predictions in. Any last thoughts on Eagles Broncos this week, or any last thoughts?
I mean, the big thing they're talking about in the NFL is should they allow ties after last night?
I did not watch it, but I watched the highlights. Okay. It looked incredible.
Did you see? So I watched a little bit of McAfee today, and they had a really good idea. I would love this. They said,
"Let me hear it."
Overtime, after you play 10 minutes of overtime, if it's still tied, you go into what's called the golden boot, where each field goal kicker, you get the long snapper and the holder. There's no block team. It's just those three guys. They go out and they kick from 50. If they both make, they go 55, 60, 65.
That's never going to be
one of them misses.
A thing.
Dude,
who wants to see a game won by just a kicker kicking field goals with no defense?
Think about how valuable a kicker would become. Dude, you need a clutch kicker to win yourself. Now, how often would that even happen, Corey? Like, because how many playoffs,
twice a year,
how many overtime games get to the end of
regulation but you really
tied? Not even twice a year, once
pick.
Every 5 years.
So people have argued for years to get rid of it, like kickers in general.
But to Mike's point, though,
kick, dude.
I'd rather have that than a tie. I can't stand seeing 10-2 and
1. So in theory, the other thing you could do is you just keep playing. Like they were saying,
that's what they do in college football.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Overtime, there's no clock. Clock doesn't exist anymore. I actually argued this a long time ago, probably when I was in middle school. I kid you not. I was like, why are NFL overtimes not like college overtimes?
Yeah, college overtimes.
When college goes to overtime, everyone's excited.
So excited.
When the NFL goes to overtime, we're like, all right.
Could end in a tie.
I guess they both get the ball, I guess. Dude, when both teams get the ball 25-yard line going in to score, that's electric.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think college does it right. It's so exciting to watch. And I went to that the Tennessee-Georgia game that went into overtime. Man, everyone was locked in. And like, even though, like, knowing you're both going to get this ball and, like, it's just so exciting. I think the NFL could adopt that. I mean, but look how long it took them to just change some of the overtime rules. Like,
yeah, you're right. It took forever.
Isn't it because the owners have to vote on it?
The owners have to vote on it. Yeah,
and
they have to lobby for it and all that.
Like 70%. Also, I just got an update. Tyreek Hill is being carted to the locker room with a leg on his cast.
A leg on his cast?
That's
oh my gosh, a leg on his cast.
Wow.
Whose leg is on his cast?
Oh, dude. That's crazy, bro.
Wait, did it happen on
wild
with his leg in a cast? Oh my gosh, dude.
Man.
Been a long day.
Look out for Hill.
No, you're good, Ryan.
Shaking hands and patting him on the head. Oh, his season's over.
Oh my gosh! Remember, he wanted to get there's rumors he might get traded to an actual competitor.
Yes. Well, they were talking about him going to the Chiefs. So Malik Neighbors also went down, which was perfect for the Birds. Not that I want anyone to get hurt. But
that's sad. That's very sad.
They're going to play the Giants twice now.
no Malik Neighbors, no excuses for the Eagles. You got to sweep the Giants.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like the Rams better sweep the Niners. Dude, if you guys don't sweep the Niners, I'm giving the Rams crap for the next 10 years. I'm going to be like, you guys couldn't beat Mac Jones throwing to freaking Sky Moore. Goodness me.
Yep. All right. Thanks, boys. Thanks for another good week.
That wraps up this week's episode of Coast to Coast Sports. Make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and share the show with a fellow football fan. From Philly to LA and around the league, we'll be back next week with more sports talk.